Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is Room in the Inn, and we're fortunate to have with us to talk about Room in the Inn and some of the other programs associated with the homeless population in Nashville and the surrounding area. Miss Hester. Miss Hester is a coordinator of the Room in the Inn program for the Room in the Inn, and of course with Miss Rachel Hester is Miss Madeline DeMoss. Miss Madeline DeMoss is the residential service person for Room in the Inn. Of course, Miss Hester and Mr. Moss, let me welcome the two of you to the show this morning. Thank you. Well, and tell you how delighted we are to have you with us and to have an opportunity to deal with the homeless population in Nashville and the surrounding areas. Let's see if we can start with you, Miss Rachel Hester, by having you to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of the other things that were important in terms of eventually leading you to the coordinator for the Room in the Inn program on the campus. And of course, Mr. Moss will give us the same kind of information, and then we'll talk about the program.
That'd be great. I was raised, I'm a preacher's daughter, so I was raised helping people all my life. And when I came to college in '89 at Trevecca, I was going to never do that again. And what happened was very quickly I learned that that is part of me. It's in me. And so I became interested in my congregation the next year, 1990, interested at the downtown center, and I've been there ever since. So,
and so you had quite a bit to do, I understand, Ms. Hester, with the establishment of the Room in the Inn program.
Room in the Inn is starting its 18th season, and I've been there 13 years. Madeline's been there from the beginning, and we were just a staff of 3 or 4 always. So you did what you had to do.
Okay, very good. So. And Mr. Moss?
I actually started with Room in the Inn at Holy Name. When the first year, there were only 4 congregations that participated, and we brought people into. That's when they used to lower the flags according to the temperature and all. And it is going into its 18th season, and I have a lay minister background from the Diocese of Nashville. But I was just a person at Holy Name and got involved and through Charles Strobel, and I've been with it ever since. It is something that gets into your blood, and you can't give it up. They become family. They become a part of you.
You know, Miss Hester, let's see if we can have a good definition for the Room in the Inn, because I think that a lot of folks know about the program, but in terms of the operation of it and that aspect of it, very few people might be aware of that. So let's have you and Mr. Moss give us some information about the Room in the Inn concept itself and what you're trying to achieve with that concept.
Well, Room in the Inn is an emergency winter shelter. And I think what makes us unique from other shelters throughout the country is that we are not in one major building. What we do is people are sent out in small groups of 10 to 15 to congregations. And what we hope that happens at those congregations is more than shelter and a meal to eat, but relationships that are built on both sides, for those that have and those that have not, to see that both have something to give.
And so this concept, Mr. Moss, is quite old in Nashville here for the last 18 years.
It is.
And so you've been with it since the very, very beginning.
I have from the beginning.
Let's talk about the beginning of that idea. I mean, how did it start originally?
Actually, it started with Charles Strobel looking at the rectory windows, and people would be in their cars. And winters used to really be colder here. And they would turn the motor on until they ran out of gas, literally. They would just try to keep warm, and they'd huddle in the doorways. Holy Name's right there at the intersections of the major interstates. So when people would get off the interstate or whatever, they would be there. It also had the Loaves and Fishes program that was located at the church. And so a lot of the poor and the homeless came there anyway, and it was literally his guilty conscience. He couldn't go to sleep at night with people sleeping in their cars in the doorway, so he just opened up the doors. And he started it really just opening up the doors and going from there. And so that first winter, he had 4 congregations that joined with him when he shared the ideas. And it has grown from 4 to 156 congregations that participate. And it is mainly, like Rachel said, it's trying to get people to understand that the homeless aren't any different from anybody else. And it's that one-on-one connection and people listening to them that give them hope again.
Right.
And so his church was the founding church in a real sense, and that's what we're talking about. I think the two of you mentioned congregation, but what you're saying is that the churches, various churches throughout the city, will provide places for these individuals who are homeless.
Right, as well as the temple and the Jewish synagogue.
That's why we really say congregations instead of churches.
Churches,
because we have so many different faith-based programs that work with us.
But the idea is that you're sending folks all over town,
We are.
and these various faith-based institutions are protecting them and taking care of them.
We send them to Williamson County, to Sumner County. People will pick them up and take them on.
Okay, and so what we'll do when we come back during the second segment, we'll give our audience some additional information in reference to that. We'll be back with you following this very, very short commercial break. Esther and Miss Madeline